Hello folks, so today we will talk about the presentation exchange and how to do it on my previous videos we talk a lot about verifiable presentations, how to work with them, how to create the verifiable presentations, and actually the verifiable presentation itself have the exchange protocol that right now widely used by community is the presentation exchange. So we could go here and actually read the specification. It's the widely adopted by community. I include the link to the other document. So but the main idea of this that verifier able to send something like the presentation definition to the user that he explained what kind of data he wants to get with him, why, and actually query the data. So that's the simple flow. And it's introduced a couple of the new things for sure. What I mentioned, that is presentation definition. Actually, presentation definition, if we keep it simple, and we will see it later, that it's some kind of complex query to the wallet that specify what kind of VCs we want to get. Another new thing that it's new to us is the presentation submission. Presentation submission itself actually is the part of the VP. So this is the part of the body of VP that actually will say that will help the verifier to navigate in a VCs that stored in a VP, and will say that this particular requirement that you have in definition are located in this VC. So if we take a look to the flow, how the presentation exchange happen. So the first step, that verifier prepare the presentation definition and send it to the holder. And holder then will filter all his VCs, and he do not need to share all VCs that satisfy the need. Actually, he could selectively share the part of the VCs that he wants to include in a presentation. And the final step, he will issue the VP to the verifier. So that's the 4 steps. Let's go through every step of this flow. So let's focus on the implementation. So definition actually consists of a couple of things. First of all, it's the mandatory UUID that needed. It should be global. It should not collide. So take care about it. Name and purpose, it's quite useful for the UI, so it's explain why verifier wants to get this data and what the purpose of this data. So that's a good thing, and then it's nice for the common sense and all of this stuff. So input descriptors, it's the core of the thing. So that's they have some kind of constraints and requirements to the fields, and they actually quite similar to the definition itself. So they have the unique ID that should be unique in scope of the definition. They have the name and purpose that could be hands-on on the UI, and they have a constraints. And constraints actually, it's the interesting thing. So let's take a look how the classical constraints look like. And you already see that we have ID, we have the list of input descriptions. ID of this descriptors is email. We explained that we want to actually use the email to login. Yeah, and then we have the constraints, and constraints have 2 pieces. Actually, they could have the purpose of the name, so it's hands-on for UI, as I already mentioned. So you could build complex UIs that explain the definition to the user in a friendly manner, but this is a quite important piece. So the first thing that we have is the path, and path actually is the array. So it's the way how the presentation exchange work with the flexibility, because we could query the same field from the different data shapes, and it's help us a lot. JSON path is the same idea as the XPath for XML. So this little library explain you a bit how it could work and what kind of queries it support, but please try to keep the query simple. So you see that you could include all the nodes, or you could include some particular complex queries already, it could be quite hands-on. But I suggest to just stick to the simple field navigation if possible. So the next thing is filter. Filter is the yet another powerful thing. So how it will work? That we will query all the passes. We'll find the payloads, and after that, we will the payloads of the filter will be validated against the filter. Filter is the JSON schema compatible thing. So if you want to see, you could check this reference. So it's the string reference, but actually it supports a lot of things, and it's I already discovered that my regis for email is not needed because the JSON schema already support the email itself, so it's maybe more hands-on to use this guy, but here we will stick to the definition of the email that I want to get something stored here. It should be string and it should be satisfy with this regex. It's a one story. Another story that I don't want to any kind of VCs. I want to use the VCs that specify this email as the work email. So we have the special type field that will say that this it's not just my personal email, but it's my work email. So these two criteria should be satisfied, and actually it's what we expect, that get the VC that confirm the user work email. So that's it. So that's quite simple. What you should remember, that you have two pieces. One piece just select the field in a JSON pass. Another piece is the JSON schema compatible payload that will validate this field for us. So our next step, we have the prepared definition by the verifier. This definition gets to the user side. So this transmission could be implemented in a variety of the ways, but what we could do, we could use the OEDC compliant specs that will go to the wallet and talk with the wallet, but it's not the part of our video. So now we should do a lot of preparation steps. So now on the wallet side, the next step is filter the VC in the wallet and prepare the VP. So actually, to do the preparation, what we should do? First of all, you should go to Affinidi CLI or Affinidi extension in a Visual Studio and obtain your API key to be able to set up actually the SDK. Then it's optional step because we want to generate some nice VCs that we want to test. If you don't have the schema yet, you could prepare the schema in our VS Code extension. I already have prepared the one so for us, so this is not the topic of this video. Then we just create the wallet and we generate some VCs. Actually, I hacked a bit or tricked a bit, so I don't want to create the wallet from scratch. I use my seed and password. Be careful, this is just a test data, so we're not violating any kind of secret information. So we just reconstruct our wallet from the password and the seed. Please don't share the password and seeds publicly in your repositories. It's dangerous, but for test purposes, it's okay. And now we just open our wallet with the seed and password and the API key that we generate, and we're ready to do the fun job. So we want to generate some kind of VCs for us. And you see that some VCs are broken. So I said that it's some random personal identifier. It's not valid email. Here we have the valid email type of work. And here we have the email with some special character, but it's still a working email. So we should get these two VCs as a result of our query. Actually, now we generate the VCs. You could see the sample VC. That's this one, so it's good enough. And the next step, what we should do, we already have a VCs. We should evaluate all our VCs that we have in a wallet against the definition. So we have a hands-on library that actually allow us to do so. It's have the select from option. So we specify the definition and we specify all our VCs in a wallet or some subset of VCs that we want to actually share. And as a result, we will get quite verbose payload that will say that, yeah, we match something for you, and it will say in which of the credentials we match it. It will share some credentials that was matched. And as you see, we have no warnings and we have no errors, so it was evaluated nicely. So the next step that we want to do, so it's still on the wallet side, that right now we want to decide what kind of VCs we want to share and prepare the presentation, and for sure we should sign the presentation. So for the simplicity, we prepare in the presentation that will have the first VC that actually filtered from our previous definition. So we select all the VCs, but we want to show only one. And we specify the domain, we specify the challenge, and now what we do some magic to make this library compatible with our SDK. But the next step is trivial. You already have seen it in a previous message and previous videos. We just sign the VP. So as a result of this procedure, we get the VP, but this VP right now differ a bit. So first of all, it's have the link to the submission. So it's additional payload that extend the VP. Now you could see that in types we have the verifiable presentation, but the verifiable submission too. It's important thing. So we haven't seen this before, and as you could see, we have this special section here, and this special section here actually give us some context. So first of all, submission have unique identifier. Then it's have the relation with the definition. So we have this UUID. So this is the UUID of the definition that was used to create this VP. So it will maintain the relations with the definition and the submission. So you should provide both of them, and this ID should match. And here we have the little map. This map actually will help verifier to navigate in our VCs. So what we have? We have the ID of the descriptor here, and we said that this ID of the descriptor is satisfied by the VC of this particular format, and you could navigate to this VC if you use this JSON path. So it's extremely simple, but it's simplified the process of the validation of the our VP. And we have this nice and cool VP that have all these credentials, and you could see that this credential, it's only one that contain my work email, that it's type of work, so that's what we actually want. And for sure the VC have his own signature and VP have his own signature, and we have the optionally but quite useful ID of the VP. So that's it. So we are ready right now to the next step. So we grab the VP and give this VP to the verifier. And the verifier should right now do a lot of heavy lifted jobs. So we should verify the VP. Actually, the verification of VP, it's quite a complex procedure. So we should check the integrity of the signature for sure. We should check the challenge part. We should evaluate the VP. It's the new step. So this is the new step for us, that we evaluating the VP over the presentation definition. And the next one is the check of the validity of every VC that we have. So we will focus on the two pieces that are bold, the integrity of the signature and the presentation definition for sure. So to evaluate, we still could use the same library, but we do some compatibility transformations, and we just say evaluate presentation, we specify the definition, sign it presentation. And as a result, we will get some payload that will be quite detailed, but most important thing, as you could see, that we have no warnings, no errors. So warnings will appear when the VP have more VCs that was asked. So it's not dangerous, but it's strange that users share more than it was asked in a definition, so we treat this as an error. As a value, we have the submission actually produced, so it's not needed. And what we could do right now, we have quite simple, it's what I said, that we check that we don't have the errors, we don't have the warnings, and yeah, you see, it's true. The next step that right now we want to check the integrity and actually validate the VP. We have the SDK method for this, verify the presentation. So, and yes, as you see, it's valid. So it's the most important thing, and then it's contained the VP that it was validated. So the last piece, we should combine these two parts, the evaluation parts and the validation part. We get through, so it's mean that we complete our flow. Congrats. So just to recap what's happened. That verifier asked the holder to share the VC that have his work email. Then the holder filtered his VCs and issued the VP that was successfully received by the verifier. Then it was validated by some complex flows, and at the end we say that VP is valid.